So I want to look at some writers of prose here. First one we're going to look at is Eudora Welty. She's a prose writer from the South, like William Faulkner and Flannery O'Connor, regionalist writer, someone else to remember about that, of her grotesque characters. We looked at this before, ones that are transparent in their physical and mental limitations, lack of understanding, their racism and sexism, basically of their humanity. Some of her works are listed here. Curtin Green, Music from Spain, The Golden Apples, Moon Lakes, and Other Stories. She's also an accomplished photographer of the Great Depression, which is an interesting tidbit about her career there. But she connects photography to art, which is to writing, which is interesting. We've seen the connection between art and literature, and here the connection between literature and photography is interesting. So in her writing, she's got snapshots of deeper contextual meaning, just like her short story, Why I Live at the P.O. And it was inspired from a photo she took of a woman ironing at the back of a post office. It's an example of Southern realism, a short story you might like to read. Other short stories that are anthologized are Petrified Man and A Worn Path. So let's take a look here at A Worn Path. It's a short story about an older African-American woman who walks a rural road to get medicine for her grandson. She reveals her pain and feeling, the immediacy of her experience, and the goal of getting the medicine, of just the idea of love over circumstance, and a lot of the thoughts and the things that she goes through to get that medicine. In The Optimist's Daughter, it's a Pulitzer Prize-winning novella about Laurel, a woman who goes to New Orleans to take care of her father after he has eye surgery. I wanted to run through this too because I noticed that this is important to look at. So in the story, he doesn't recover and dies, but in this, her father's young second wife, Faye, exasperates the situation with her presence. So we've got these two characters that have to live together, that have to go through the experience of bringing the body back to Mississippi where he'll be buried. So in it, Laurel rediscovers her life before moving away and feels connected to its town and people, which contrasts with Faye, who is an unwelcomed outsider. And Laurel has feelings and connectedness that Faye herself will never understand. Our next writer I want to look at here is Ralph Ellison, African-American novelist and literary critic, professor at NYU. This work here, please focus on this, Invisible Man, is his best work. He won the National Book Award in 1953. Here's a picture of him. He also published Shadow and Act, a collection of essays about politics and social issues. And then, Juneteenth, here is a posthumous novel that was published from some 2,000 pages he had left after he passed. So let's go back to Invisible Man. It's a story of an unnamed African-American whose race makes him invisible, so invisible to other people. So that's, I connected to the title there. He narrates the experiences of living in racist America in the early 20th century. He lives underground in a room with stolen electricity. He tells his experiences of at an African-American college, his life in Harlem, and his work with African-American nationalism and connections to Marxism and other African-American intellectuals. It's a novel of identity and discovery, a voice of others with similar experiences. And as you look at these novels in the Harlem Renaissance, and even the ones before that were written by African-Americans, you can see the development of ideas and how we're running into a lot more political activism in this. So two writers I want to look at here in the Jewish tradition, which we have not looked at yet, another contribution. So two very important writers here. The first one is Bernard Malamud, and he is writing about the Jewish experience of navigating here in a sometimes hostile world in post-war America. Here is a picture of him. And he's best known for his first novel, The Natural, which was actually made into a movie with Robert Redford and Kim Basinger. I'll talk about that in a sec. But his novels talk about middle-class Jews in America, their failures and successes, and how love can overcome strife. So here's a list of some of his different novels published in the 50s and 60s. So you might want to read the first 7 years from The Magic Barrel, a story here that is sometimes used in the anthologies. The Fixer, in 1966, is a novel about anti-Semitism in Tsarist-era Russia and a trial in 1913. And this won him the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Award. It drew attention from around the world, and it's kind of a historical fiction, something to look at. So The Natural, it's what I pointed out before, it's not about the Jewish American experience, it's about baseball. Maybe you've seen the movie or perhaps you read the book, but Roy Hobbs is a promising young player who meets a star ball player named Whammer. Whammer's girlfriend shoots Roy when Roy says he will be the best. 15 years later, Roy enters the profession and becomes successful. The owner asks him to throw the game for a bribe. He refuses, but strikes out anyways and is discovered. So the novel ends in that sad tone, but the film's ending is totally different. So don't connect it with, don't see the film and say you've seen, you know what it's all about. The other Jewish American writer I want to look at is Saul Bellow. He won the National Book Award 3 times, the Pulitzer Prize, and the Nobel Prize in Literature. Quite a bunch of literary accomplishments here. His best known, these are a list of some of his best known works here, written over almost a 50-year period here. And his books explore the Jewish American experience after World War II and the Holocaust. So much of what he writes is actually, as a lot of the writers we've seen, reflects on his own youth and his own experiences. And as you know, being a writer, or maybe if you don't write, as writers know, writing about your own experience is always the best thing to do. His second novel, The Victim, for example, is about a middle-aged man, Asa Leventhal, who was confronted with someone from his past who blames Leventhal for his misfortunes. Leventhal must confront this and other challenges, his sick nephew, anti-Semitism, and self-examine his own values. So Bellow's characters live in a disinterested and oppressive society, but still search for their place in the world. And with different groups, ethnic groups, or women, a lot of the migrant work some of it that we've looked at, there's people trying to navigate here in a difficult world. The picaresque novel, that's the novel kind of like Huck Finn, where you get the mischievous young fellow there. The Adventures of Augie March. This won him the first National Book Award. It's about Augie March during the Great Depression. It's a growth novel, a Bildungsroman, which we've also looked at before, which is about a boy's transition to adulthood. And these are some very important writers that you should look at in greater depth. So let's move on to our next group now.